Welcome back, everyone. It's us, your favorite people, your favorite stoners. Oh,
Bring it back.
There we go. Yep, sorry about that, guys. Just played a little bit extra of that song by Papers. You know it, 42 Strains theme song created by Papers. Make sure to go check them out. And welcome back to 42 Strains, you guys. We have a nice, wonderful, exciting episode in order for you today. We have an interesting little panel of hosts here, which is why we didn't have a nice little normal pre-recording. So, of course, your boy Double A's coming at you as always. We also have our wonderful lady Snacks in the house. Snacks, how you doing?
Hi.
Yes, wonderful. And Chuck's here.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we also have a more recent host and also guest back on with us, Lucius. Hello, Lucius.
Hello.
Absolutely wonderful to have you, buddy. Thanks again for coming on.
I prefer Lucius.
Yeah, but I like my enunciation because I'm in US of A.
Lucius.
I prefer luscious.
See, there's many ways. They're all sexy. So
They are.
So, you know, I think it's a win-win-win. And those don't happen often, truly.
With him, every day I win.
Aw, thanks.
Oh dang! You know, I don't have like a cat call audio recorded. I need to like get one for those kinds of moments, like a you know, like I need to get one of those on the panel.
Yeah.
Ew.
We have an exciting episode in tail for you guys today. We don't have any emails because you know our spam our spam gets a little shy for whatever reason, you know. But hey, emails at 42strains@toke.com. We would love to answer any questions you have, take high splations recommendations. If you have news stories that you think should be on Wacky News, if you guys have just general opinions you want to know about your hosts, you know, please hit us up on that email. And also, like, outside of emailing, if you just want to hit us up on our socials because it's a little bit more personal, you're definitely welcome to do that. The socials will play at the end of the episode. Please do follow us on all handles and all places. And now you can also find this podcast on all your podcasting platforms. So please tell your friends. They should all be able to get this podcast as long as they have internet access. So, you know, sorry, you know, like, people that are in indigenous tribes and like, you know, the mountains of Nepal that don't get our podcast. I wish they could hear us, you know.
I hope.
But to those in the Czech Republic was good.
Hey, Czech Republic, we listen, we
Hi,
hear
guys.
you. Yeah, hey, email us. I don't care if it's in Czechian. I will totally put it in Google Translate and answer your question. I'll even, if you really want, if you put it in the email, I will try to answer it in Czechian after practicing from Google Translate. You know, I think that's a pretty sweet.
If there's a Czech movie you want me to watch and try to do an English high splation of,
Oh,
That would
God.
be
do
lovely.
it. I'll watch a Czech
Please.
movie
Genius.
Come on, guys.
and I'll try to do a high splation.
This is
of a Czech movie.
absolute gold that we're offering you right here.
Dude,
Just gold content.
it'd be called Chuck and Czech.
Oh, shit.
I dig that. That's cool.
Yeah, and speaking of like new segments, we have a short little new segment for you guys today that you guys should look forward to. So, you know, get excited. But what I want to start with today is Snacks. I think I'm going to pass it over to you for some snacking on Reddit.
Yeah.
Snap,
No, we don't have a sound for that one yet either.
We gonna though.
We're working on it.
It's gonna be fucking
Best
fire.
believe we're working on it. I can't give you a date.
I want it
when
to be
it'll
like
ready.
it's Britney, bitch. But
You don't want to
like,
commit. You don't want to commit. They'll get it when they get it.
I'm not
they can't
one to
even email us.
overpromise.
It needs to be like it's Britney, bitch, but like it's snacking.
Like, they can't even email us. I think they can just wait as long as we want
Yeah.
to get
Come
that
on, guys. Like, break that stereotype. The lazy stoner stereotype. Just type us something.
I know. Simple question. Like, what's your
Break the cycle.
What's your favorite day of the week? It's okay. We'll all answer honestly and why.
Ask me my
I'll
favorite
answer-
color.
I'll answer
I bet you
dirty
guys
shit.
don't know my favorite color.
Chuck said I'll answer dirty shit.
I'll answer dirty shit.
That's gonna be a segment too.
We meant anything.
But yeah, so I only have a couple today for
Okay.
those Am I the Assholes? Because I got something later for
Yep.
everybody.
Yep,
Yum.
that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, so this one, let's see. I don't think I want to. Actually, I'll start with this one. Do we want lighthearted or do we want kind of serious?
Just give me the tea.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
I'll start off
No
with
preference.
the fun one, I guess. And it says, "Am I the asshole for using my sugar mama's money to support me while I grow weed?"
I think
Hold
that's
up.
the definition. What?
Hold up. Yeah, wait.
That's it.
Now,
That's
is it,
all
is
the
it, now,
context.
is it a real sugar mama like situation?
Yeah, no, they said,
That's
"Am
the
I the
context.
asshole for using my sugar mommies Mommy.
Well,
Now, is it
Pearl?
My
Mama,
sugar mommy's
mommy?
money to support me while I grow weed? Question mark. That is the title.
Now I'm really concerned
No, no.
because I need to know who this guy is just a little bit more. Now you said that's the title.
Yes.
Is there more?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah. There's plenty more.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
So it goes.
That's
I,
interesting.
female, 24, enjoy
Oh.
weed in all the forms: growing, smoking, baking. With. I feel like it's that
okay.
scene in Forrest
So
Gump
already
where
I'm
Bubba's
liking
like
this.
listing all the ways you can cook
Now,
sugar.
we're
to do
talking,
this.
now we're talking. This is a sugar mama and a sugar daughter.
Yes. So they like weed in all forms, growing, smoking, and baking with it. But it doesn't pay the bills. And while my trailer is paid off and I've gotten a decent cooking job with my degree, thanks mom and dad's money, to pay for renovations, but I don't want to work forever. You're so real for that. One of my friends mentioned he got a sugar daddy to pay off his college loan payments, and the money from his
We're beginning now to
part-time
do another
job
sugar daddy, sugar son
is
situation?
just for him. So after thinking about it, I got a sugar mommy too. She gave me like 2,000 simoleons.
Simillions. Yeah,
Simillions.
that's
Somalian.
that's Greece.
No, that's people.
Okay, she gave me like
Something.
2,000
Some-
simoleons or simoleons, and I'm using it to
Middle
buy
East,
more
somewhere.
weed seeds and fertilizer. But I kind of feel guilty because my sugar mama doesn't know, and I don't think I want her to know. You know how old money is. Am I the asshole for using that money to support my love for our favorite plants?
Listen. I'm gonna kind of just come at it this way. It sounds like it's a monthly allowance situation, pretty common. It seems like with the sugar situations. I don't think unless the sugar mommy has like an issue with how the monthly thing is spent, I don't see why it would matter if they're spending it on growing weed. I just don't see how they'd
I
be
just
the asshole
don't
for
even know
that.
why they're thinking that they're being like. For my understanding,
That's why I'm like, is
yeah.
there something missing? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even sound like the sugar mommy's even caring enough to ask about
That's
it.
the point.
Okay.
So, like, here's the thing with like sugar mamas, because like, okay, I like back in the day before pre-Lucius times, I absolutely considered it for a second, maybe like, I don't know, trying to get like a sugar daddy or something. And the whole thing is the agreement is you give them either, love, affection, companionship of some sort. Either of those may possibly involve sex. And
Usually, I'm sure.
they give you money. Because that's what the agreement is. You're just spending time with them. It's not boyfriend, girlfriend, although it can turn into boyfriend, girlfriend. But plenty of people have like their sugar mamas or their sugar daddies, and they still have like their partner, that like their main partner. Like, this is just an extra way to bring in some money. Like, if you agree to the terms and conditions. So personally, I feel like it's not a sugar mama's business what you do with that money. She gave
I
it to
agree.
you. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a monthly
Most
allowance.
sugar
Sounds
mamas,
so-
I don't think would care.
This person that's posting this, I've got a lot of feelings about already.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Tell us.
Because, so first of all, the way that they're talking and phrasing things and the extra spelling, like they're writing sugar mommy as opposed to sugar mama, referring to money as a Somalian or Somalian. That is a informal United States currency name.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I
is
didn't know
just-
that.
That's just a name for $1. That is an old termy word for $1.
Okay.
This person is expressing certain things about their friend as a sugar daddy, and it's a sugar son situation. Now, this is a female that has a sugar mommy, right?
Yes.
Phrasing it as mommy. This person is a lot of theater to their Reddit story. There's some showmanship to this story.
But I
that
mean, they're
telling.
explaining how they got
And
here
so
too,
I'm not
though.
thinking that this person is an asshole as much as they are looking for more attention than just a sugar mama.
Oh wow!
This is an attention grab here, not an asshole.
Yeah, because I also thought it was interesting the comment they made about like, I have a nice cooking degree. Thanks, mom and dad's
Yeah,
money.
this is the
Like,
theater show.
I feel like you want to be the asshole.
I don't
a little bit.
100% know if this person's real. Like, and that's why I have a lot of feelings. And exactly, thank you for bringing that. I kind of got more stuck onto the mommy and daddy part that I forgot to mention their actual mommy and daddy money that they got. So they went from having money, mentioning that they're in a trailer.
Yeah, like they
for
they
renovation.
Oh,
yeah.
a paid off one, mind you.
Yeah,
but
I want
over-
to mention that it's
My
paid off.
hard
Maybe it's like one of those van life situations, like
referring to
like
your
those van
money
life
like
people
that.
that like
Oh, maybe.
glam up a van or like a trailer.
That's like, I don't know. it seems like there's a lot of theater to
I don't think you're an asshole, but I think you're like, I think you kind of want to be.
Maybe it's that situation of like, you know how there's either like, I kind of feel kind of bad about this, and then there's like I kind of feel bad.
Someone tell me that I'm bad.
Yeah.
You know, someone like, say that I'm bad, and I'll go, I'm being bad, and then not really do anything about it.
But making the assumption, or like at least to play devil's advocate, if they're not actually a theatrical person for this,
if
it's a real situation, then no, you don't have to feel.
No, I don't think they're an asshole.
Yeah, I don't think you're an asshole.
They're an asshole.
If that's all real and everything, like I don't really think you're an asshole. No.
If anything, I just think you're kind of sketchy. I don't think you're an asshole. I just think you're kind of sketchy.
Do people looking for sugar mommies and sugar daddies and have trailers that are paid off? And I mean, are they not slight way sketchy?
And you know what? At the end of the day, assuming that there's not this weird personality attached to how they wrote in the manner that they wrote.
Yeah.
I mean, really, your sugar mom is more of an investor because you're using it to grow weed and like learn more about weed and get better at weed to make money. So. Who fucking cares?
And if they're honestly doing it to try and make money too, then yeah, cool.
I mean, so honestly, like, look, if they explained it non-dramatically, they'd be like, hey, am I the asshole for taking my sugar mama's money and using it to support myself as I frivolously do my hobby, which is grow weed? I mean, I have my own place. I do have stuff going for myself, but I just really like growing weed and I want to do it. But do you think...
Yeah, what do you do for your sugar mama?
Like, that's like, that would be like a very normal way to word what they said.
Massage, or are you just...
Like, straight up, like, there's cases where, like, sugar babies never actually touch their sugar daddy or sugar mama.
Saying, but well, like, is there anything that you're doing that would further
y'all, like I said earlier, y'all agreed to something. The thing is, your time and or any amount of affection you're going to give this person, and they give you money because you did that. There's no stipulation on what you do with your money. It's your money.
Yeah, like either way, like I know we kind of divulged into just like the weird way they kind of like talked about it, but I mean, like truly, like either way, they're not really an asshole in my eyes.
Yeah,
yeah, like get that bag.
I don't really, like we're never gonna.
If they agree to it, get that bag.
Yeah, but if you're getting money from sugar mama, spend it. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't think you're an asshole. I just think you're sketchy.
I just don't think you're made for this life.
Unless your sugar mama, literally gave you the money and then explicitly said you can use this on anything except for growing weed, then you'd be the asshole because then you're just not listening.
It's your allowance.
I don't think that's happened.
Are you smoking with mommy?
Well, mommy don't smoke. If mommy smoked, this wouldn't even be a question.
And are you sure? Because again, theater.
We don't know this though. I'm only going off the facts we know. So I mean, if this is accurate, then it's like, yeah, if mommy smoked, you wouldn't be asking this question.
And I stand by what I just said. I think they're not made for the sugar baby life. I'm just going to be honest. You gotta look. I did a lot of research into this before I considered it, and you gotta just go in knowing it is a con. You're getting. You provide A, they provide B. You get C, they get D, and then that's it. Like.
If they get C, what's to stop them from getting D?
I mean, if that's not something that they agreed to.
Yeah, terms and conditions.
It's all about terms and conditions.
They basically some of them sign away some weird stuff, man. Like some real weird stuff. Sometimes they just want explicit hand-holding privileges.
Like literally sometimes I've found, because during my research and like finding like documentary stuff about it and like people like getting more like investigative with it, like a lot of the times they just want somebody to talk to.
Yeah, just attention and companionship.
Yeah.
A lot of people are fucking lonely and they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Especially like it's those cases like the the stereotype about like the older sugar daddy, the one that's like crusty and like wrinkly. Look, he has a dead wife that he was with for like 40 years. He just wants a friend.
I'm gonna say I had one. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna I was with her forever. I'm gonna fucking paint the fake tan line on.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That would be
It's a hard battlefield to enter back into. Singledom at like 60. I understand just wanting to buy the thing, and
my grandma did that like 3 times.
You know what? That's not surprising. That just looks like a duh. I know your grandmother.
Experienced.
But yeah, so that was the first one, and the second one. It's not exactly not an asshole, but okay, not an asshole, but shade. Okay, so here's the second one, which is another. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to drive from California to Utah with weed in my car?
Nope.
All right, guys.
Okay.
My husband and I, both in our 40s, recently drove from California to Utah on holiday. Just before we left, I was searching for something else and discovered that he had packed a small amount of weed for personal use. I was angry because I'm deeply opposed to breaking federal and state drug laws by crossing state lines with weed and taking it to Utah where it is illegal. It is against my own ethics and could jeopardize future plans to travel and work abroad. It had come up before, and he promised to tell me if he was packing it again, but he hadn't told me this time. I refused to travel in the car if he was taking the weed. I said that if he had to take it, I would organize separate transports, such as flying and hire a car. He did leave the weed behind, but he is furious with me for giving him that ultimatum. He said that if we were traveling with any other friends, I would not have been able to insist. He said I should be able to see that it is a tiny risk of being caught and that I should have ignored it and not risk jeopardizing our trip and our relationship. All right,
he's bringing in the relationship.
Yeah, it's her man's.
I'm just going to say not the asshole.
No, you cannot. You can't do that to somebody.
No.
And be mad about it. Like, that's completely up to them if they want to ride in that type of situation. And, there's, especially with me having anxiety myself, I will go through bouts where, like, I'll have a problem smoking joints in cars while driving.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I like it. Other times it terrifies me. And, like, the most I can do when I get like that, because I can't, I can't tell somebody in California, no, you're not smoking in the car with me in here. But traveling state lines, if I feel comfortable with that, I had to have a very long conversation with a friend when we went to Reno one time. Because I was like, you don't understand how that can, like, really, Doug, So with anxiety, nah, like, you can't. I feel 100% behind you are not the asshole in that situation. There's just a whole different level of what can happen to you when you do something like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, truly, like, the furious one in this situation is the asshole.
Yeah.
How are you getting?
Yeah.
How dare you not want to go to literal prison.
Federal prison.
Federal prison for me. Yeah. Because I want to smoke a little weed, which, by the way, yes, it's illegal in Utah. But let me tell you what. As a person who was born in Utah and knows quite a bit about the state and the people there, you could just literally walk around a corner and find some fucked up dude behind a fucking Kmart and buy weed. I mean, it's literally not hard to find drugs in Utah because that's all they have to fucking do out there. It's really there's like zero
or
reason.
Go to temple.
There's like zero reason to even risk or pressure someone into doing something like that. Yeah, no fucking way are they the asshole.
No.
And then to get furious at them for not wanting to do that, it's like, then I guess you can drive separate and and hold the weed. Because fuck you. Like, what?
The thing that, like, also, like, ruffles my feathers is when they mentioned in there that they've had this talk before. Like, he's done this before.
Oh, this is not the first
yes,
time?
No. And then, like,
they mentioned it early on that they've had this discussion in this type of scenario.
And they had to argue about it to make him not bring it again.
He would have to tell me if he ever did this again, and he agreed to, but he didn't this time.
Ooh, that's a more serious relationship talk at that point.
That's why she did say jeopardize the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at that point, like, you're going to put someone else in prison, too, that didn't even know anything was happening, and it's impossible for them to claim ignorance, essentially.
Yeah, and then also going back to,
car.
like, some, like, wording examination like Chuck did in the last one, it always, like, my brain lights up when I see the word holiday used as a substitution for vacation. So the other thing to take into consideration is OP might not be from this country.
Yeah.
And they mentioned about jeopardizing working abroad. Europeans use going on holiday. So they might be here on a work visa. And if they get caught with weed, they might get fucking deported back to wherever they're from.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, God.
It's not very common.
I only noticed it because I've been, traveling more in these last years. And every time I'm over in Europe, Western Europe, they all say holiday. We're like the only ones that say vacation.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of immigrants, though, as well. So, I mean, not necessarily, like, it'd be hard to know if they're really, like, here temporarily in a sense, you know what I mean? So
there was that portion. And then just coming at it from, like, the knowledge of us being Californians, for those of you that are listening, in the rest of the United States or even just around the world. for those of you that aren't aware, Californians, we kind of have a target on our back the minute we drive out of state for police officers. Officers will, especially like, for instance, like let's take example Texas. I hear about this happening all the time. Californians are driving out of California, and as soon as they enter Texas, within like the first 30 minutes of them driving into Texas, police officers pull them over because they have a California license plate. They give them a little bit of hard time. They assume, what do we other people assume about California, that they're stoners.
You also don't know your rights in Texas.
Yeah.
You didn't look up your driving rights in Texas and what to say to police when they pull you over.
So police will pull you over from California, and they'll just jump to the assumption of, I think you probably have weed in this car. Do you want me to give you the speeding ticket, or do you want me to do a search right now? Because if I find something, you're all in trouble.
Man.
So you just got to think about it from that perspective also. Also, getting furious over something that someone wasn't cool with you doing behind their back, like, be fucking for real.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and realize, like, step one to this whole situation was a lie.
Yeah. A lie.
Like before any other information, we're starting with liar.
Hey,
number one.
So, listen here, lady. I'm single. and I'm not gonna put you through that.
I'm just not gonna, dude. Look at that. Chuck's just offering, security, comfort,
I'm a
non-anxiety.
Stoner. I got my paycheck. My bills are paid.
Goddamn right. Yeah. So not the asshole. Both of those, not assholes.
No, but I really like the grab bag this week, Snack Queen. It's good stories here.
Thank you.
Yeah, two very interesting ones.
Very
too,
different
you're right.
situations.
Like one's more serious, and then one is kind of
One
like,
is
really?
like, I have the sugar mama problem.
One's like the drama.
The drama. Am I the drama?
Little sugar baby here. I've got a couple words.
You're worried about your situationship with your sugar mama. This girl is sweating across state lines.
Yeah, and you're over here worried about not getting your trailer fixed, which you should be. Get that fixed. Kind of an asshole
With
for not
your
getting
sugar mama's money.
You don't even need to use your regular money for that. Keep buying your weed with sugar baby money.
She did say she graduated as a chef. I hope she at least
cook.
Sugar
She didn't even
mama's
say chef. She said cooking degree.
I mean, that is what you call it, I guess. We'll actually call it a culinary degree. If it's a degree, it's a culinary degree.
And plus, mommy and daddy paid to renovate her trailer.
College.
That's interesting.
It would be a community culinary degree.
I know.
A community,
if you go to
culinary double A.
And you've gone to culinary school, I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just making fun of what they made you do.
Like, I failed my chocolate test. I'm embarrassed.
What was the one that is shut down now? Le Cordon Bleu or something?
Le Cordon Bleu shut down?
Yeah, I don't think they have. I think they went bankrupt and they failed.
No,
How? I knew so many people that.
We're gonna have to fact check on some of those ones.
I remember the one in SF shutting down.
There is one, but I don't know if it is Le Cordon Bleu.
There was one in There was a Le Cordon Bleu in Pasadena that shut down. I thought when I looked it up, they were basically going down to one location worldwide.
Is it the one in Napa?
No, I think they have a real one in Europe.
Oh wow.
I'm not
Le
sure.
Cordon Bleu.
Yeah.
Random sidetrack,
I'm so sorry for that that horrible French accent attempt that came out of nowhere.
Trois. That's 3. I've been learning sign language to teach Denver.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, I know my alphabet and a few phrases.
Yeah. That's 100% correct.
It's Le Cordon Bleu.
Wow. And that's actually insane because
Je suis.
So little fun fact. So a young Chuck Dante.
Yeah.
A young Chuck Dante in 2006 had received an opportunity to attend a orientation at Le Cordon Bleu in San Francisco with the potential for going out to their school and being lodged at the school in Napa.
Yeah, Napa school came out to my school to try and recruit us too.
Yeah. I could not afford that shit.
No.
That's part of the reason they failed.
And that's
you
the
would need a
only
sugar
reason
mommy.
why I didn't go, because they hyped me up like, "Oh, this is a possibility for you. You have no
You could go
idea
to a
what we
Michelin
could do."
star restaurant
and
after this.
And they were like, "We will send you to Europe." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is amazing." And they were like, "And you know what? You can get a scholarship." And I'm like, "I could." Why is there dollar signs by your scholarship? Because you have to pay for it, and that's not a scholarship.
No.
So Le Cordon Bleu, the well-known culinary institute, is closing all 16 of its United States locations, including the 3 in California. The Golden State locations include San Francisco, Sacramento, and Pasadena.
Yep. Oh. I remember when the Pasadena one closed
so then
down.
It must not have been Le Cordon Bleu. Hold on. Because the one up specifically was in Napa. And that's not.
I think I know which one it is. I forget what it's called, but it's that one that Anthony Bourdain literally was at like a few times.
Okay.
I know there's one out there because I have a friend that's going to school out there. It still is.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it's nice as fuck in there.
That's the one then. All right, not Le Cordon Bleu because they're closed. And obviously Chuck went.
The one that had like the giant wine cellars. Is that the one that you went to? Yeah, that's the school.
No, not went to. Had the opportunity.
Oh, sorry, that you had the opportunity waived in front of you.
Gracious opportunity
to
pay them to go
there.
there.
Fucking Robert Mondavi.
Not happening.
Barrels of wine.
Not happening. I lived in Richmond, okay? My dad had
You're like,
money,
be real.
My dad had money, not me.
Be fucking for real.
I used my uncle's address so I can go to a school in Pinole, so I went to a place a little bit better than I should have been going.
Yeah, Le Cordon Bleu totally came to our school and everything, and they gave us the whole spiel. They showed us like some of their the tools they use, and they started talking about like, we have chefs that'll go to Michelin star restaurants in Europe after this. You're like, wow, this all sounds amazing, and then like you just read into the brochure a little bit, and there's like no guarantee of a job after a fucking huge upfront cost.
We will make you take loans out.
There's a whole lot of terms and conditions where you're like, wait, hold on a second, internship for 6 months for no pay?
When you look up Le Cordon Bleu, the very next thing that comes up on the search bar when you're looking up Le Cordon Bleu, the very next thing says, "Is culinary school a waste of money?"
Yeah, so here's the thing. Le Cordon Bleu, Wyotech.
I had Wyotech come out to my school.
Like Phoenix, something. Like all those like
trade schools
/ temporary sort of like replacement schools were so hot in that time period. Like they all were trying to do that thing. And
they really came in and said, "Look, let's all be real right now. Not all of you are going to college."
And then, but the thing is none of them properly put in a plan for that or how to get those people jobs after. So they all failed after.
And then the people don't. They also don't tell you straight up that some of these schools or these institutions are not accredited,
even recognized. Yeah,
they're not even accredited. So all of your time that you spent. And money?
Yeah.
Doesn't equate to shit.
Several of them got sued for like big fucking money. Like I know Wyotech, I believe, got sued.
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure the Phoenix one.
Like that they were accredited or like.
Yeah, like literally like they would make promises about jobs after they would like.
You get your cute little certificate after like a year or two.
That did go to Wyotech actually did end up getting hooked up. But he is one of the rare cases.
He is the exception.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. Because I did.
Yeah, I don't think like all of them failed. They had to have some success.
This homeboy, he ended up getting put on with Tesla.
Oh my
after
god!
He got out.
Okay, yeah, sorry. These trade schools are not preying on your downfall, but they just don't care what you do afterwards.
He was like in a desk, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he was on like on the production line. He was
that's good though.
Like, he was one of those guys. The answer that I found on here to is culinary school a waste of money? When I clicked on it, it just says, well, culinary school may not be a waste of money. It's not necessarily the right choice.
There's never been a truer statement about like food and service.
So fucking real for that.
Like that's literally factual. That is just like literally factual all the time about cooking.
I mean, I almost paid money to go to theater school, so there's that. And a lot of people.
Lucius, have you done any like food service or cooking work in your life?
No, not
customer service.
Volunteering, but like that doesn't count.
Okay,
for getting paid.
Yeah, 3 of us here are like sitting here.
We're
like
in the trenches.
Yeah, you're like I can definitely imagine myself on multiple days being like, this is not the right choice. That's definitely when I'm like, it just
plenty of days
right.
where I came back. No, there'd be times. I mean, like us working in the trenches, especially like in the food industry.
Oh, yeah.
Coming back from work to your house and you're just drenched in sweat and grease, and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
Dude, closing any restaurant, first of all, but closing like a certain yellow arrowed fast food place used to be really insane at like 2:00 in the morning. And when a place just shills out, 2,000 burger patties a fucking day, you don't want to know what behind those grills looks like every day.
Or in
something
retrospect,
out of a horror.
Working at a mom and pop restaurant.
Well, that's when you just learn to like really disassociate anything that looks disgusting and like it would fail.
I was just like, I never want to see this shit again.
Dude, I love it that I took so much pride in like how well kept I kept the mom and pop shop that I worked at, because that is the stereotype that you would see in most neighborhoods, and I love beating that.
Look, I took pride in making like the broilers really nice and clean. I'm not getting behind that oven.
Had to, dude. I had to, because I know what could be back there. It's so scary.
I've seen what's back there.
It's so scary. And I
think about it every day.
For places like
you guys
the Yellow
seen
Arrow.
The old horror flick called The Thing?
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's very similar to like what is behind grills.
What is that?
And grease traps. It usually looks like any version of that during that movie. The dog part, the multiple humans part. Yeah, I can go on. It could look like any of those. It is The Thing.
It looks like
there.
Kurt Russell?
It's The Thing back there. Man, you forget Kurt's in that, don't you?
I like only saw a few minutes of The Thing, and it was related to the dog, and you know how I am about like animals. Like
Yeah,
I was
that
just like,
scene's
I can't watch
She
this.
refuses to watch it with me because of that scene alone.
Just skip that scene. It's
I
really
also
easy to
just-
close your eyes during that scene. And
Also,
watch the
I've
rest
just
of the
seen
horrific
pictures of
images.
like the Thing, and I'm like, I don't need to see that movie on screen.
It's honestly a good movie,
It's
though.
fantastic.
No,
With the
I've read the
mystery and
synopsis.
mystique.
I spoiled it for me. I read the synopsis.
Yeah, it's good.
Because I knew, like, I couldn't do it. So I read the synopsis, and I'm like, this shit sounds fire, but I
mean,
will
yeah.
never let it cross my eyeballs.
Hey, there's a book.
You're right, there is the book.
So now she can put even more detailed images in her own brain with
Yes.
that? No, I don't. Snacks, don't do it. No.
Oh, I won't.
Okay, good. It's not going to be good for your
The
health.
synopsis was gross enough reading. I was like,
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, I just want you to get excited though, real quick, because we're gonna try a small little new segment here, and we're gonna be calling this little segment. Wait, what happened? Go ahead and take it away, Snacks. What happened?
okay,
Back
so
in
I want to
1977.
77. It was a January where it started.
It was a cold midnight in 1977.
The main thing that we'll focus on, yes, but my story starts in the morning, or I guess more so in the early afternoon. But I want to preface this first by saying that this was a segment that I got inspired by because I want to give a little shout out to a podcast that Lucius and I discovered not too long ago called National Parks After Dark. It is a wonderful like podcast that focuses on like the all United States like national parks, like some of the biggest things that have happened at them, like true crime and like spooky kind of related.
I'm going to be tagging their social just so they see we talked about them.
Awesome. I love them. They do a really good job at keeping me invested in things, but also staying respectful, in relation to like the dead and not making weird jokes about like, victims or anything. So I dig them.
Some of those podcasts get offensive.
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Oh yeah,
See,
it's people like going after the shock factor, but one of the ones I was listening to that caught my attention for multiple reasons centers on the national park Yosemite National Park, and it always catches my interest if I see anything Yosemite National Park related because Yosemite National Park is actually the park that Lucius proposed to me at.
Oh,
And it was my first time ever being there. And I was just like, oh my God, look at these rocks. Oh my God, what is that rock?
Together.
Yes. So this centers on an accident that happened in January of 1977. So for those of you listeners, especially maybe some of our Czech friends that aren't too familiar with Yosemite National Park, I'll say National Parks After Dark does a way better explanation. I'm also really high right now.
I also don't mean to be rude, but I mean, like, Google it.
Yeah, Google it.
There's a lot of information.
Oh, there's a lot, and you guys are going to love this.
Particularly Half Dome. It's an amazing
Yes.
thing. And look up Vernal Falls. It's beautiful.
Yes, and you also look up El Capitan. So for those of you that aren't too familiar with Yosemite National Park,
oh my God.
Basically, for those of you that aren't aware, Yosemite National Park is a big, beautiful, historic park. And I want to say it was like the 4th national park that was named a national park in the United States.
It's one of the early ones.
It's one of the early ones, and it has attracted national attention and international attention for the amount and size of all the granite in the park, specifically granite rock. It's beautiful. You can climb it. You can walk around it. Also, the wildflowers during the spring, from what I've heard, is absolutely breathtaking. And in fact, for many of you people that are movie fans, Free Solo is about a famous rock climbing event that took place in Yosemite National Park. So there's a lot of history behind Yosemite and personal history for me. But what I'm going to talk about today is what some may call, and some have nicknamed, to be the second gold rush to hit California specifically, but more so in relation to weed.
Yes.
So
that's awesome.
It's called second green rush.
Yes. So like I said, this starts in January of 1977. And let me tell you, it is snowy. There's storms that are hitting. It was a weird year in general for the weather. This was one of the few years where the droughts have been worse than it is like currently in the time frame that we live in. So they were dealing with a huge, crazy drought year, and they didn't anticipate that they were going to get as much like rain and snow. So let me just say, Yosemite wasn't ready for what was about to go down. But to start it off, I guess I should just start off at what was coming its way. So we're going to start focusing on that there is a plane involved, and it's a plane that's coming from Mexico, and there's something being carried on this plane. And guess what, guys? Spoiler alert, it's marijuana, and a lot of it, like some Pablo Escobar.
Fuck ton
like
of
the
marijuana.
The plane full of weed, like hay bales size weed.
Now listen, now when I say a metric fuck ton,
I
don't mean figuratively. And when she says full plane, she doesn't mean figuratively. There's no space, guys. There's no space in the plane.
It's just weed.
Just weed.
Yes, so
like the plane of our dreams.
Yeah, so this
Ganja,
plane is doing a mega like fucking Han Solo like fucking run of spice, but it's weed.
Say it is still gonna only be 70s weed, even the best weed in the 70s.
It's 70s weed, but still, like, goddamn, it's Mexican weed. So it's some of the best weed in the world.
Maybe not.
This is Pablo shit, though.
I mean, Pablo made better coke.
That's true,
Truly.
but he also had really good weed.
Weed grows a lot better here, honestly.
Correct, but
I mean, it was probably good weed. Pablo didn't sell shit weed. I definitely don't think he sold shit weed. But
and I mean, he was the one bringing most of it over.
I mean, yeah, to start the drug wars, yeah. But then Cali boys got those seeds from that in the Middle East, and we started creating hybrids.
But yeah, so basically we got a run going, an air run of a shit ton of weed coming from Mexico. I wasn't able to in time find where the original destination was supposed to be for this plane to reach. I just knew it was coming from Mexico.
Oh, probably somewhere up in the northwest.
I was going to say Oregon.
Yeah, it's going to be
Probably.
like they would drop it off
Humboldt.
in the mountains up there. Yeah,
one of the last
like
sightings of this airplane, it was a pretty small plane, but enough to carry that much weed. One of the last places it was seen flying was in Baja, California, so it's just flying on up.
Yep, up the coast.
It's making its way.
Yeah. Honestly, though, sometimes they would drop that off in the ocean for a boat to pick it up instead, too.
Yes.
So they could have easily been dropping that off.
Well, gentlemen, needless to say, and you'll probably see where this is going, the plane did not make it to its destination. So instead, we're going to
we're
fast
talking about
forward.
Yosemite, and that's not on the coast.
Yeah, that's not on the coast like at all. No, you have to go like inland. But anyway, during this time frame, a little after this crash that happens, we're going to focus on two young gentlemen. I didn't get their names because
Are they gentlemen?
They're people. They're waiters. Okay, they are waiters that work at one of the restaurants in the national park. They're trying to make some summer money. I mean, It's not like they have to save up that much since their fucking tuition back in the 70s was like $15 to go to college. So yeah, they're just working for their little honest, like, dick around weed money. And let me tell you, these guys were working an awful lot. And so they were blessed. They had 2 days that were given off to them. And what does any red-blooded American California boy do in the 70s? On his day off, they decide they are going to have the cutest little hike and like camping trip. Just bro it out. They're going to have two of their buddies meet up with them later during their hike. And they're going to trip balls on some good old-fashioned LSD.
These are sugar daddies.
current sugar daddies.
Like,
These guys
they've
are
reported,
current
like,
sugar
they were in a
daddies.
great mood. They're like, oh my God, the sky's going to be fantastic tonight. The boys are going to meet up with us. The boys are back in town. And they decide to head in the direction of the lake, Lower Merced Pass Lake. And, you know, they're tripping balls at this point. They took their acid, and about, it seems like less than like 7 miles into their trek, what does one of them see but the wing of a plane, not attached to a plane? And they're like, what the fuck is that? And then they see to the side of them also more metal debris that shouldn't be in Yosemite National Park.
You mean they don't just crash planes there for fun?
No, they don't just crash planes there for fun.
Dude, are you seeing the plane wing?
Yeah, right. Like, especially on the drugs.
So clearly they never caught up with their friends because they're like, we need to sober up because we need to go to law enforcement because there shouldn't be a plane wing not attached to its plane.
I'd ignore it. That ain't my problem. That plane ain't my problem. I don't got to call nobody.
These are good Samaritan boys, and they're
no
probably
cameras, no like fingerprint technology.
Scared.
Like, I'm just gonna fucking head out.
So the boys, after an undisclosed amount of time, head back. They're like, we gotta go talk to law enforcement. They find the nearest ranger and explain everything that they saw, exactly what direction they were heading in, and they don't know anything else. And clearly law enforcement is like, excuse me, what? So they like call everybody.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
This is a national park, so it's not just a state issue. This becomes a federal issue. So they have to contact the feds. And when they basically go to the crash site at Lower Merced Pass Lake, you know, there's a cute little plane like in the frozen water, like rock solid, like they cannot get it out or anything. And they see so much weed scattered about, like the hay bales of weed that were on this plane.
Weed separated.
Yeah. So they're like, there's weed everywhere. We have to start collecting this weed. And then when I say like the Fed show up, DEA shows up, and they're like hauling all this
is like
weed back.
middle of fucking reefer madness. Like, this is fucking heated time for marijuana.
Well, it's also snowing. There's snow on the ground. The lake's frozen. And they just see all this weed everywhere. And basically a Captain America situation, a plane in a lake that they can't get out. So they grab all the weed that they can, and they take it back. And when I tell you how much weed they like got back, they literally brought back within that first initial search like 3,000 pounds of weed, and they don't have enough. They don't have enough space in their like evidence locker to put the weed, so they have to. They have to shove these piles of these hay bales of marijuana into a jail cell, like one of their jail cells, and they like start filling her up, and she gets about halfway from the ground to the ceiling. She's that high. What the actual
I like how the weed has become a female entity.
Oh my God, yeah, I didn't mean to assign the gender to the weed.
I think it likes it, honestly.
Okay.
It's so big and beautiful.
So, like I said, during that time, you know, they covered back, or sorry, it was almost 2,000 pounds. Still a shit ton of weed.
Yeah, it's
2,000 pounds of
marijuana.
marijuana.
Ton of weed, literally. Not a ton.
So here's the issue. So they tried and, you know, found everything they could on the ground and whatever was able to be bobbling up in the lake, but it really wasn't that much. Plus, since it's during the storm time, the weather's all fucked. The water's murky. You can't see shit. So they're like, we're going to just grab what we can grab. We kind of have to stop the search here for like the rest of the stuff because they can't really see well because there's like knee deep, like
just shit
snow level.
Just shit snow.
So they're like, okay, here's the game plan. We got all the weed. We're not going to be able to do the retrieval of the bodies. We're going to have to wait until it starts warming up. We'll resume the search as soon as we get more like snow melt.
We know they didn't get all
melted. The weed. No, they did not get all the weed. I can tell you that right now. But they didn't know that.
We'll find some 70s weed.
So they were especially hesitant to continue the search because there was also yet another storm that was supposed to be coming in. They're like, oh, we absolutely can't get anything. And we're going to have probably more snow involved because it's January and that rain will turn to snow. And it takes a hot minute for the snow melt to completely melt in Yosemite, for those that aren't too familiar.
The 70s and we're not completely fucked on.
It's not completely fucked, and there's mountains and shit. So they a few DEA, well, actually quite a lot of DEA, but basically a lot of the feds stay in the national park. Like they hang out in the area all around Yosemite. They go to the bars because there's a lot of cute bars, I guess, in Yosemite.
Oh,
and
actually,
the boys
saloon in California.
Oh, the oldest saloon. I didn't even know that.
Iron Door.
Iron Door Saloon.
Is the oldest, and the second one is Cervantes, which is in Sonora.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this next part that I'm about to describe, it's probably at that old fucking saloon.
It's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
One of the locals overhears DEA throwing drinks back, chatting about this insane plane crash, about the metric fuck ton of weed and how they found the hay bales of weed. And they drop exactly what lake it was at, Lower Merced Lake Pass.
Not Lake Titicaca.
No,
and they're like, I guess we're, you know, because of the storm and everything, we're going to have to wait a while. So no one's going to go up there. They literally say that they don't think anybody's going to go up in that area because of how bad the weather conditions have been.
Bullshit.
So they're like, no one's going to touch the weed.
Stupid.
They're fucking idiots. So one of the locals that overhears this, what does he do after he finishes his drink, but immediately goes over to that area?
Put that shit on the radio.
He brings a saw with him because the DEA have exactly described what the weather conditions are like at the crash site. So he goes, to get through the ice, I just need a saw. So homeboy packs all of his shit, does that cute, beautiful hike up there, gets to the lake. Clearly, there's no weed on the obvious snow ground, but as soon as he goes to the lake where there's clearly a frozen plane in the water that isn't moving, what does he do but start like fucking sawing at?
He's getting where the real
He's getting where the real shit is.
Probably where the bodies are.
No, they don't do the body recovery at this point.
Dang it.
But
no, but maybe this guy does.
He's looking around, and basically...
and then he lets go of Jack, and Jack floats slowly down to the bottom.
No. He brings it back, but basically, like, he does recover weed at this point.
Oh,
he brings it back. He's super successful. He gets a shit ton of the weed.
Yeah, because they didn't find it all. They're fucking silly thinking they found it all.
Yeah, and at this point, as soon as he like gets his money's worth and all that jazz, what does one do but gloat to the townspeople about?
Well, yeah, he went and had some drinks and knocked those
he
back.
went probably to the same exact bar that DEA had just left after his little fun expedition, and then more locals start finding out about frozen hay bales of weed out of the water. So what do people do? But there's an uproar in sales of like tents, hatchets, backpacks, all the accessories you're going to need for a fun little excursion.
Rope.
Rope. Like people are going like fishing with their buddies, like tying ropes around homeboys' is like torsos, dipping them in there, dipping them out after like a few seconds because those waters are freezing.
Oh, dude,
and
so
you're going to be numb in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
God, I'm so jealous.
They're all part of the Polar Bear Club.
I'm so jealous. Like, this sounds so invigorating. Like to know that you're
going through the green rush of like literally, I mean,
ice
seriously.
cold waters to be like, there's bales,
dude. And you're talking about, I mean, legitimately, like even if these are people who are not going to like smoke this, they definitely think that they can take some of this back home, salvage it, and sell it themselves, like back home for like money that is definitely going to get them whatever they want in the 70s.
Yes, and for people that are still not familiar at home about like how big Yosemite National Park is, it's fucking huge.
Huge.
It is
takes
huge.
up a large section of California's like border.
It's
I
insane.
think it has 4 area codes.
It is so huge to the point where, like, you know, these locals are hearing about, I mean, not even just locals, like incoming tourists that were already just going to enjoy Yosemite for themselves are hearing about this gold rush.
Green rush.
And they're like,
They really missed
we
an
just have to
opportunity,
take
probably
our
back
map and it'll take us to Lower Merced Pass Lake without realizing that they're doing like 32 miles worth of hiking there and back to get their weed.
Man, people fucking walked, didn't they?
And like people would like take
That would
empty
kill me.
backpacks. They would take their empty backpacks. They would just carry their hatchet on them or their saw, but they would go in with empty backpacks and come with their backpacks fucking filled to the max.
Does it mention if there's any casualties? Like, did anybody die?
I haven't seen any casualties, but it does mention later on that people do get aggressive. Like, there's thievery happening. Dude, some people getting jumped a little bit, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't see any casualties in regard to the weed gold rush.
That's honestly surprising.
I mean, it's stoners.
That's some dumbass.
Cocaine I could see, heroin I could see, but like stoners
didn't go drown in the lake. Like, I don't know. I could just see that happening too easily.
Yeah,
that's awesome. People were different back then.
It was simpler times.
Their priorities were their distractions they didn't have, and their focus when it came to what was available to them. Like, my dad tells me some stories about some shit, and he was a young man in the 70s, so he'd been around. He knows about this.
He'd been about that life.
If I was to talk to him about this, he'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, did you go? And there's a 50-50 chance he either went or he didn't because my oldest sister had just been born.
Aww.
Kind of thing like that. Like,
that's crazy. January 1977.
Kind of one of those situations there. Different cut. But like when Double A just said, he said people really did walk back then. The guy even didn't you say that just a few months? Yeah, people like that's some miles under some feet, and he said it's not a straight hike.
That ain't a straight hike. No, there's a lot of incline on these hikes,
and that's just different. Like. And maybe roads that aren't even cut yet because you're trying to find stuff off the beaten path. So you're cutting paths and trails that might be getting used today because people are looking for the green rush.
The green rush. With that, just to give you guys an idea about like how much there is an incentive behind like getting this weed on your random hikes once you hear the good word. So people that would be able to carry about like 200 pounds of the marijuana in that time period, we're looking at making it about like 50K off of a backpack full of weed. And that's the 70s.
That's like two houses.
Oh my God.
That's
like 2 houses.
So at this point, with all the hiking coming in, like the influx in traffic, the term hiking for dollars is used. Like that was a local term that everyone was aware of. The hiking for dollars. Oh, you're getting weed. That's where you're going.
I like that. I'm bringing that back.
Hiking for dollars.
So basically, soon all across Yosemite Valley and in like the small, like the roadside towns nearby, tents, cabins, bungalows, bathrooms, and like garages. Tons of like weed, and like this is like damp weed because it's being pulled out of a fucking frozen lake, is drying out. Like there's weed hay bales and packs everywhere in people's homes, in the garages, in the backyards. So they're just drying out this weed because they're like, I'm gonna hit payday, baby. Yeah. I'm going to take myself to Hawaii. It's gonna be fantastic. But here's something that they don't know. All the weed is soaked in fuel and water. Not just water, fuel.
They got that ignition weed.
Yeah, you want to talk about straight gas? You want to talk about straight gas?
Yeah, drenched in AV gas. That shit burn up real quick.
That's good for your lungs.
So to like give you guys some context, so like in lean times when like pot is a prized commodity, it might have been possible to like get rid of a large quantity of the stuff like in the park, but by April of 77, the plane's still in the lake, guys. April of 77, the weather's still been but like there was that random heat wave, and that's what led to people discovering that weed in the first place, because the cops were anticipating the snowstorm, but there was a surprise heat wave. Yeah, so Yosemite is like chock full of weed, chock full of like more hikers and climbers because they're like, I'm gonna get that good.
They're gonna get that bag.
So because of like the knowledge that people were having about like, oh, I lit up this weed just to see if it was ready to be lit, and the whole thing sparked and like crackled real quick. People were joking about it, and they were calling the weed airplane and calling it crash buds.
Crash buds.
Because it was laced with traces of the aviation fuel. It occasionally sparked and crackled when smoke, and the hit was harsh, to say the least. I'm glad that that's one thing that they made sure to report. Like the stoners were like, I smoked it. Yeah, it was pretty harsh. It wasn't that smooth.
And I give it a 1 out of 3. A little bit.
So here's how.
And probably gave you cancer.
Yeah, probably gave you cancer.
I found out the name of the strain they used.
What was the strain?
The strain that got brought over. This stuff. Let me get back to it real quick. Mexican red hair.
Mexican red hair.
It's called Mexican red hair.
That's so cute.
That's the name of the strain that he brought and cultivated and was bringing it up here.
So a lot of people are probably wondering at home, like, how is it that we made it to April? The first reported case of like the plane crash with the weed and everything happened in January. Did anybody notice? Yes, people absolutely noticed. Nobody was dumb. It was like that secret that was not really a secret that all of the mamas and grandmas and aunties were talking about in the parks and basically the outside cities. What else
is there to talk about?
Here's where they could no longer like ignore it, was that people started to return to the park, like those locals, and they became big spenders all of a sudden.
Feverishly.
Yeah, like dropping so much money on just like drinks. One of them that came back with a lot of the weed after an excursion was dropping money on like fine steak dinners, and people are like, oh, what's going on there? He's not used to treating himself like that. So that was the major tip-off, and law enforcement was catching on at this point. So here's where the story kind of starts to conclude, is we finally get to about mid-June. Their snow melt has, for the most part, melted, and the lake is no longer frozen over. So they're able to finally retrieve the plane. You know, they're able to pull Captain America out of the lake.
Oh, with the Tesseract and some weed?
Yes. So here's one of the things. They first theorized that there was only one pilot, and when they started pulling out the plane, one pilot's corpse, rose up, and they were like, okay, cool, we found the pilot. We also have retrieved all of the weed that's finally, in the lake. It's all good. And then when they got to the cockpit, they found there was actually a second pilot, and he was still strapped into his seat and everything. And I bring this up because I have a fun fascination for like dreams and like premonitions and all that, hearing about that. So the wife or significant other of the pilot that was still strapped in, apparently the night that the plane did go down during that run, she had a dream that her husband was strapped into a chair upside down, and the whole time she was concerned about it, and she actually tipped off law enforcement about her husband and the drug run because she was that concerned about him. And, of course, law enforcement was just like, he's probably long dead. He's probably not even related to anything in relation to this Yosemite crash. And unfortunately, her weird dream came to be, and it's just a little spooky.
I mean, yeah.
Connected to him.
Or she knew a little bit more than she wanted to let on, so she didn't get in trouble, too. Did she report this after this plane crash?
She reported it, I think, like a day or two after she had the dream. And I don't think at that point she was aware of the plane crash that happened in Yosemite.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the 70s, so I don't think word got out that fast. But
again, total speculation. Just if she did know more, she could have possibly been tipped off that the plane did not make it somewhere.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
I mean, I'm just saying a lot of those fucking Chapo wives definitely knew way more than they ever let on to know about what their husbands were doing.
That is fair.
You know what I mean? This guy was a pilot
This guy was a pilot, but he was an American. I believe he was ex-military. Like, he fought in, like,
that's
wars
even
and
more
everything.
reason to be
trying to get
sneaky.
Money,
yeah.
A lot of the veterans were
and times were rough, and that's why
Yeah.
she was so quick to go to law enforcement, because she was caring for some family members, I think, that had, like, health issues. And money was a little tight.
He probably was a little bit more honest with her, though, too, if that's
probably
the case. Like, hey, I'm just trying to get this money for us. Like, I know it's kind of weird and bad, but, like, we need money to take care of all these things.
Yeah. So that is, in general,
That's
the
insane,
legend
though.
of what's joked as Dope Lake in Yosemite.
Absolutely amazing. One of the really fun thing I did find, just looking at some information where I wanted to just see a couple things about that.
Yeah.
A lot of the recovered ones that were found from some of the people from Berkeley and San Francisco that were traveling up there via bus were coming back with 40-pound burlap sacks that were labeled fresh frijoles.
Oh my gosh. Fresh frijoles.
Yeah, they were burlap
Frijoles
bean
smell-
bags filled with 40-pound wrapped satchels of the
Hilarious. Frijoles do not smell anything like marijuana.
No, they literally just said, what can we put it in? Put it in that bag right there.
That's what we got. That's big
Will
enough.
they get checked? Not in Baja. Yeah, fucking love it.
It's just amazing, and I took an interest in it because, one, there's like true crime involved, but second, it's really interesting knowing like that, like I mentioned earlier, that stereotype about the lazy stoner. People were doing 32-mile hikes to get a shit ton, and they wanted to go to work right after. They're like, I want to sell this.
Girl, go look at John Muir. You know, that dude used to slap on a pair of tennis shoes, grab a notebook, and he would disappear into the woods for weeks. Oh my God. Like, that's why, like, half of Yosemite and between there and the coast of San Francisco has his name slapped all across it.
Oh, wow.
Homeboy would just go. Take a tent. Sometimes he wouldn't even take a tent. He would just sleep out under the stars.
You know, it's
because
funny.
You could.
In this situation, he absolutely could, especially because like people were so juiced about the loads that they were bringing back with them that they would abandon all of the materials they took with them. Like people would leave their tents, people would leave their hacksaws, people would leave their axes. They're just like, I got what I came for. Sayonara, I'll leave this for the next guy.
Yeah, go home fast.
Time to go make some money.
Pass it and add 20.
I love it. This is a really good story, and I'm gonna go and badger my father.
Yes, badger your father, and then definitely go listen to National Parks After Dark because they told it way more coherently than I could, and they actually had names.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be tagging them to.
This is mainly what I was going off of, like memory
listen.
from what they were saying, and
plus, and let us know, Spam. So that's kind of, I think it'd be really fun for us to pull up, like old stories or maybe some like really big stories about cannabis that you may never have heard of that are like, wow, that had like a huge impact on a small area there.
See, our podcast is educational.
Even if it's old, even if it's from the 70s, even if it's from, weed's been around in Jerusalem for 1,000 years.
I didn't think about that.
Egyptians smoked cannabis and grew hemp. So, like, definitely could probably be like a pretty fun segment. Let us know what you think. I think the name. Wait, what happened? I think I like that a lot. It'd be super fun to do some more of those snacks. And honestly, like, I definitely would open that segment up to anybody bringing like a really cool cannabis story from back when, or even just sort of recently or whatever, but just sort of separate from wacky news. That's like
the pioneers used to smoke these bad boys for years.
Like that can't just be a wacky news story,
No.
that needs more.
That was a wacky news from the blast from the past.
Yeah, so I really like that. Thank you, Snacks, very much.
You.
For that.
Thank you.
I seriously really enjoyed that. And then please also email us with if you have some opinions, or I don't know, if you're somehow listening to this and you're one of those people that's just like some old timer listening to this stoner podcast because you're still a stoner, for the love of everything good in this world, please email us at 42strainsoftoke.com just in case that's possible. Just in case someone's out there listening right now. I can't let that slide by if there's a chance, dude. Like, some of those people would only be like 60, 70 years old.
Yeah, especially even for like when I was reading, a lot of the Rangers were particularly young.
Right? You know what I mean?
Because like during that time, like you just had to be passionate about like the national parks and the forest to know like a little bit about it to become a ranger back in the day.
Right.
So I mean, the guys that found the first like wing of the plane, they were, I believe, in their late teens or early 20s. Some of the rangers they were talking to were their age. Like, a lot of people with pep in their step, and they're like, we're going to go get that weed.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah. If you have any connection to that story at all, like, definitely hit us up. I would appreciate that.
I would love to do an interview with anyone that's connected to that.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be crazy.
There'll be a few silly questions, but like I'll mainly stay on topic.
And then we'll go ahead and flow right into some. Oh, oops! There we go.
To what?
You know what? You
to
know
what?
What's next.
What?
Wacky news!
That's right. I figured after a really nice hot story like that, we could have some quick fun stories to talk about.
Fun.
And we got some good ones today.
You mean things happen?
I mean,
Things
some
happen?
weed things happen. I have a world record possibly today again.
Ooh.
Because people are just doing that all the time. And we got to talk about it.
Anything
World
from
record.
Florida?
Nope. Not from Florida. I do think I have a story from Florida, though.
What happened?
Nope. Connecticut and Ukraine are where these places are from.
Oh, Ukraine.
So Ukraine's my first one. The Ukraine's president says legalizing medical marijuana can help people impacted by the trauma of war.
Yeah, you're right,
Ukraine
Zelensky.
is calling for the legalization of medical marijuana to help Ukrainians cope with trauma amid the ongoing war with Russia. In address to the Ukrainian parliament on Wednesday, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that all the world's best practices, all the most effective policies, all the solutions, no matter how difficult or unusual they may seem to us, must be applied in Ukraine so that Ukrainians, all our citizens, do not have to endure the pain, stress, and trauma of war, according to a translation.
That's so cool.
He also said, in particular, we must finally fairly legalize legalize cannabis-based medicines for all those who need them with appropriate scientific research and controlled Ukrainian production. The president stressed that providing access to medical cannabis could provide a therapeutic option for citizens who have endured more than a year of intensive conflict with Russia, first invaded the country last February. During his campaign, he also voiced support for cannabis legalization, saying in 2019 he feels it would be completely normal to allow people to access cannabis droplets. So he's even saying bare minimum, it should be just super normal to have like THC tinctures, things that are like very easy to take for all ages and peoples, because tinctures are usually what are used on children and very old people, to not have to smoke and do that kind of thing to them. He says, we understand the negative consequences of war on the state of mental health. We understand the number of people who will need medical treatment as a result of this impact, and we understand that there is no time to wait. I really just dug this story. There's quite a bit more. They even go into an example of just previous Ukrainian history that they think would have been serviced well by having this type of medication around. It's honestly a really great story. That's kind of one thing I got. I was just like, God damn, can you come over here, bro? Like, that sounds so progressive.
That's some hot boy shit right there.
Thinking. I mean, honestly, Snacks, you might. Here, I'll just show you him.
Oh, I'm well aware what Zelensky looks like. He's handsome.
I've been following a little bit about Zelensky's beautiful, charming ass.
Chin.
Now,
he's the Ukrainian voice of
Paddington. How he got elected.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know how current you are going on with what their day-to-day shit that's going on right now.
Yeah, I am.
Didn't Zelensky put a halt to their elections at the moment?
I haven't checked in the last week or two, so I'm a little bit behind. But
okay, because I heard there was a lot of proposals that had been made, but I've been hearing some kind of weird uproars going on right now that they're supposed to be holding their election soon for office and for new bills and stuff. Even the things that he's putting forward, and he's kind of taken and not some people are arguing that it's a non-democratic type move. That's kind of a dictatorship move, but he's putting a hold onto the election because he doesn't want to jeopardize his potential to lose office during the conflict. So he's using his power to put a hold on all elections right now, even his bills.
I think that's fair, though. If he's he's not pushing any of his bills or anything.
I will say it is pretty normal for a country in time of war to let the current leader
handle it.
Yeah.
Things.
Especially
in
Europe. I would not hold that against him.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah,
he's
I didn't
protecting
even know that.
his land.
Yeah. Okay.
And it did say that this one went through, this marijuana one that they voted on. The parliament voted to legalize the possession and cultivation by adults, and it's the second country in the European Union to end that prohibition.
And this has already gone through. Okay.
Yeah, as far as this is as of
good job, Zelensky.
This was published 6 hours ago. This just out.
Oh
my God!
Wacky news.
Yeah. This is current wacky news.
Well, I hope residents of Ukraine have access to weed soon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I think it would be a ginormous help to their mentality and help their people heal, once they're through the war, because I think we're all pretty sure that with the support of the rest of the world, they're probably going to keep kicking Russia's butt out of their country.
Oh, and after the Russian coup that happened.
The attempted coup.
The alleged attempted possible coup.
It was a wild 48 hours.
It was.
Oh my God, that's not on Wacky News, but that's hilarious. Thank you for just referencing that. The second one I have is Connecticut. Marijuana home cultivation becomes legal in Connecticut this weekend, as they did vote that in previously.
Oh, let's go plant moms. You can start growing.
So yeah, in Connecticut, I just want to see how much. I did not see that. Yeah, they did delay the rollout for some reason. They probably just... I don't know. They probably just weren't ready for.
They need to list how much is okay in a house.
So it looks like as of July 1st, adults 21 and older will be able to cultivate up to 6 cannabis plants. That's pretty normal for personal use, with the total number of plants capped at 12 per household. The law allowed medical cannabis patients to begin growing their own plants in October 2021, and now that right is being extended to all adult consumers over the age of 21. So it's legitimately people in Connecticut. If you're an adult that is 21 years of age, you can grow marijuana. We do not care.
Good job, Connecticut.
Now, it doesn't necessarily say here, because a lot of problems with that end up happening is some cities will still create ordinances.
Yeah.
That still becomes an issue. California has that issue already. But they do know that the economy from cannabis is definitely boosting up. I read another story that isn't on Wacky News today, but I did read another one that they just totaled Arizona's profits on on cannabis, I think, last year, and it was insane. I mean, it was just like crazy. It was just like
that
Colorado.
revenue coming in.
It was just like Colorado. It was just like Oregon. You know, it was just out of this world amounts of money. Damn, they cleared nearly 43,000 records for marijuana-related convictions as well in January. So they're also even letting people out of jail for minor
Thank God.
Marijuana crimes and stuff like that too. So yeah, definitely just wanted to give a little shout out to Connecticut. You know, that's just another state. Like, keep it going, keep these progressive laws going. We need cannabis to tip over all the fucking dominoes. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't give a fuck if like Alabama and Georgia and, you know, Louisiana, if you guys all want to stay a bunch of alcoholics / think you're sober because you use legal drugs kind of people, then go ahead and do that. As long as it's like pretty much everywhere else. Oh, in Texas, please stop it. There's too many people in your fucking state. Too many people like your state, and there's actually like a lot of nice people in your state that like your state. That just
My
want to
sister lives in Texas.
And I bet she wants to enjoy a fucking piece of plant sometimes. I bet.
She do.
I'm just
She really
saying.
wish she did.
And then for all the stupid backwater bumpkins that are there, y'all just shut the fuck up and take a seat.
Seriously, sit the fuck down, enjoy your big old beer that you don't have regulations on, and let the other people smoke a plant. Like, seriously. Other than that,
we should stop harping on them. It's not like they think they have the best like fast food burger in the state or something.
They
certainly like to tell you.
Hey, you know what, Texas? I'll listen to you when you can pronounce Houston. All right, all right. When you can pronounce Houston, I'll listen to you.
But yeah, keep knocking over those dominoes, guys. We need those states to keep these progressive laws going. Next on the agenda is a world record. Now, I will just preface this with they are still technically waiting to hear back from the Guinness Book of World Records as of 2 days ago.
It's not official then?
It's not. It is technically not official, but when I say this record, you just tell me if you think someone
they're
else
not
is
winners.
beating it, okay? Because I think there might be an argument.
Okay.
Irish Town. I want you to know before anything, this is in Ireland.
I love Ireland.
Gathers over 1,100 people for a record attempt at impersonating Dolly Parton.
That's so cute. That warms my heart.
Irish people?
What town? What town was it in Ireland?
Let me just see here real quick. Listowel.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that town.
There's a Dolly Day event in Listowel attempted to set a world record for the largest gathering of people wearing a full head-to-toe Dolly Parton costume.
Oh,
and there's pictures and a video, and yes, there is 1,100 pink-jacketed, big, poofy, blonde-haired, just people down there.
I love the Irish.
Fantastic.
They're fantastic people.
Also, this whole thing and the whole event and everything was all to raise money for charity. So that's also really cool. That's why I really want them to get it.
Good job, Ireland.
It raises money for Carrie Hospice and Comfort for Chemo Carrie. So it looks like it's for cancer patients going through chemo. They have to wait 8 to 12 weeks for the record to officially be set.
You know, I take back what I was joking about. They are winners. They won.
Look what you did to Snacks, guys. You literally warmed her heart to the point where she took back her savageness. That's pretty hard to do. Honestly.
I do love Ireland.
You should know it's really hard to do.
I think the ones that have the record currently are some people that went to some event in Dolly World.
Yeah, it'd have to be, right? Like, that would literally have to be the other, like, they got together in Dolly World and they did it.
And then the Irish motherfuckers said,
hold up.
Hold my beer.
No, the Irish motherfuckers said, this is everyone. We don't have more people. This is literally all of us. We can't give you more people.
They built Slane Castle.
I mean, like, they're not. There's not a hugely populated country. Truly, like, they have to be like, hey,
I mean, yeah, they hold a concert every year where 2/3 of the country goes to it.
It's like,
so it's like, yeah,
I think Guinness needs to just respect that in some form, just because, like, the work it probably took them to get that many people to do that thing, and I respect head to toe. That's hot. Like, it wasn't just wearing a wig. It wasn't just the pink jacket.
It's not just women.
No.
No. I want to say there might even be more men there.
Huh? Easily. I could easily see there being more men. That would be hilariously awesome. Honestly.
I love that for you, Ireland. You take
Ireland,
that
that's
W.
Definitely a W. Yeah, exactly. That's definitely
that W.
That's in the win column for sure. I'm gonna check back in like 12 weeks just to make sure that they got
them in the books.
And got their plaque.
Put them in the books.
They really deserve the recognition. And that's it for Wacky News today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I always enjoy Wacky News, and that was a pleasure giving that news to you. So
I love that.
Oh man, those were fun. I like those ones today.
They're mostly all heartwarming.
I was really excited about the Dolly part. I was like, I need to find a record, and it didn't take me 2 seconds.
Because like the first one wasn't like that wacky. I was just like, that's just awesome.
No, that one's just cannabis news. Wacky News always has
awesome.
to come with like good cannabis news. It's like we can't.
Now that one, this last one,
can't just be the funny guys all the time. What's that?
Maybe, I was like, but I mean Dolly.
Yeah, but Dolly.
Dolly.
Watch The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Like,
hey, that's Hannah Montana's godmother right there.
I know. Yeah,
I feel so sorry for her.
I don't. I love Miley.
So we don't have a jingle for this one either, but we have some.
We're working on it.
High spalations today. I can at least do this.
Yeah.
Anything I would be trying to do to give us a song for high spalations right now would violate some sort of copyright somewhere.
We can't, probably. It's so hard.
So that's why I'm just like, high spalation.
High spalation.
Now, between Lucius and Snacks, who are our two high splaners today, who would like to go first?
I'm a high splampion champion.
Why?
Jesus, what is
Why
this?
did it?
I was trying to mix the two words
No,
together.
that's just how competitively savage she is. She's like, Double A just said something. I need to somehow win or beat him at what he just said.
I am a champion.
Michael, was the metaphor I used not good enough? Did you really have
I've
to
never
just
not
come
made
up
the
with
time.
your own
I just feel like I used a lot of brain power on calling you high splaners and not fucking it up all this high, and then you were just
High
like, that's
splaners.
dumb. I have a better word for it. And then
I
you
think
just
Snacks needs to go first.
yeah, honestly, respectfully, I think you need to take a
you're
rip
a
and you need to go
guest.
first.
I think this guest just punked you, Snacks.
I gotta.
So good.
I'm working on it. I just gotta take a hit.
Yeah, that's no worries. I can't. Oh no, I just remembered what movie you're doing. Okay. Yeah. What movie you doing, Snacks?
I'm doing Bridesmaids.
I got
Brides.
the timer going.
Maids. Oh, you're doing timer, Chuck?
I got it.
Erd.
I will be giving you a notice at the halfway point,
Okay.
and when you are 2/3 the way, and then 10 seconds.
Okay.
And then who knows when Lucius and I will give you time updates, since we can't see it. But we're gonna try. Or Chuck, if you want to show, we'll also give random time updates.
Now, you are aware that you only have 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Easy.
Are you aware?
I'm aware.
Honestly, Bridesmaids, it's a comedy. It's only like an hour and 30 minutes.
It's
I think you got
sisterhood.
this.
It is sisterhood.
This should be.
I have the shit in my blood in my bones.
I'm not gonna lie. This should be kind of Baby Town Frolics for doing high spalations.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I've been ready.
Oh, dude, I hope she fails.
Wait, you got to say it to me. I'm blind. I don't have my
3,
glasses on.
2, 1, go.
Okay, so we open the film. We're focused on two best friends. It's Annie and Lillian.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
And it's played by Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph. And essentially, Annie's having a normal
actors
day
all the
when
time.
she finds out from Lillian that Lillian just got proposed to after one of their little catch-ups, their little girlhood catch-ups. And
brunch?
Lillian's getting all excited. She immediately asks Annie, does she want to be like her maid of honor? And Annie and Lillian, they go back since like childhood. Like they have been those BFFs. So of course Annie
got
says
bracelets.
yes. And Lillian starts going through the list of her bridal party. She recognizes basically all the names, Annie except for one named Helen. And Lillian explains that that's like a new kind of friend that she really thinks Annie's going to love. She'll meet her at the engagement party, which is going to be in like a week or so. So come the engagement party, Lillian asks to Annie to give like a little speech or whatever, as, being a maid of honor, being all excited. But here's the thing, the engagement party has been thrown by Helen. And this is where Annie, meets Helen and she finds out Helen's fucking dirtbag's rich. And like is kind of an extra ass bitch. She tried to be friends with her, like, do a good first impression, but Helen's about that bougie life. So basically,
Helen's about
during this time frame, Annie gives a little quick speech, very straight and to the point. And then Helen comes up and she does like this beautiful, heartfelt speech. And then they kind of get into a speech off and everything.
a speech off.
And so it's a little little
On a
awkward.
dance-off.
And basically, after the engagement party, you know, Annie's doing her thing as maid of honor. She's trying to like plan stuff for Lillian, but she's also like struggling with her personal life. She's not doing very well, and she's had some tough run-ins. Like she literally
With the cops?
That is coming up. So after the engagement party, she gets pulled over by a cop because he thinks she's drunk driving because she was swerving because she was talking shit about Helen to herself. They strike up a keen liking to each other. So she doesn't think that they're ever. What is it?
Halfway. 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
2 minutes, 20 seconds. Okay. So they keep interacting off and on throughout the whole film. And during this time frame, towards the middle of it, Annie's focused on like planning like parties, you know, like bachelorettes, and then like trying on dresses. The dresses one doesn't really go well because Annie plans a lunch and all the girls get like food poisoning. It's really bad. So they all like have to leave the dress appointment.
Scene.
There's a puke scene. It's pretty bad.
It's horrendous.
And then lo and behold, Annie's trying to plan this bachelorette party as well following the incident, and she's really stressed out. She keeps running into the cop. And basically, Helen kind of like takes it over and takes control of it. Like she keeps inserting herself on the plane ride to the bachelorette party. Helen, because Annie's having like an anxiety attack and everything, gives her like medicine to like calm her down. Basically, Annie goes like ape shit on the plane because she drinks it with alcohol. Has a reaction. It completely like deteriorates to the point where like they get kicked off the plane, so no bachelorette party. And at this point, this is where like Lillian has to like tell Annie that like, hey, it's not working out very, very well. So I think we're just gonna let Helen take control. Annie's still going through even more shit. She keeps interacting with the cop, strikes up kind of like an off and on like rebound kind of thing. Like she has sex with him, but he wants
1 minute
more.
left.
1 minute left. So basically, then Annie, in a state of not taking care of herself, like crashes like Lillian's like bridal shower, makes a complete ass out of herself. She goes all like low as me, and basically one of the other bridesmaids has to like be real with her and explain that like, you know, life gets tough, but you got to be there for your best friend. So Annie and Lillian like basically like hash it out because they miss each other, and Annie starts like ignoring all the things that she doesn't like about Helen because that's Helen's own problem. They get to the wedding, they have a great time, and they kind of just learn how to live with it, you know, dealing with each other. And Annie kind of decides to commit to the cop and everything and better her life, and that's Bridesmaids.
Man, look at that. With 10 seconds to clear. You felt the pressure halfway through, didn't you?
I did, because like I love those scenes so much.
You were not halfway into the movie halfway through. You were like a third in.
You got through those scenes.
I did skip like the tennis scene, and I skipped like her getting fired, but I really didn't think it was that important.
Well, and then,
I just have to say her life was shit.
I mean, you skipped a bit of the ceremony too.
Yeah, I was just like, they hashed out their problems.
Yeah, it's like you have to
and
just
then, boom,
put that
wedding
together.
happens.
Man, here, I gotta give a good.
Like, I had to sacrifice even mentioning any of the funny parts with Melissa McCartney, which is like,
there's
all of them.
a lot in there. That's one of her star early roles for sure.
I actually think I'm gonna have to watch that one again soon.
You absolutely should. And I couldn't even bring up the stupid little fuck buddy John Hamm. Like, I'm like, he's not important to the plot. He was just a little small
just
plot
like a
device.
little side thing for some little ha-has, like for real.
Yeah.
Damn, that was good though. That was really good, Snacks. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
job. I'm a hungry bear.
And I think I love that film so much. Like, it's one of my favorite films as a woman. Like, just girlhood, like best friends and everything. Because like,
just touched you
at one point. I think every like girl, for the most part, can universally agree to that horrible feeling that I think all of us are pretty familiar with. Of my best friend has other best friends besides me, and I'm kind of not happy in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of jealous of everything.
Okay, yeah. All right.
I think we've at least every woman has felt that at least once.
So it touches people.
And you know, it's just, I think it perfectly depicts like female friendships.
Fun fact,
especially like in adult life.
Fun fact: Double A, with his very first paycheck from his very first government official job, bought a huge amount of DVDs, because it wasn't like a huge paycheck. It was only like half a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And I had just gotten like the new Xbox 360 at the time.
Oh my god!
And that thing definitely played.
You said
DVDs.
I want movies,
and I was just like, man, I love movies.
You're like, I love cinema.
I loved watching comedies. I loved watching like TV shows. So I went and bought like a few seasons of shows that were current. I went and bought I had the newer Death at a Funeral. I had like South Park season 11. I had like all kinds. One of them was Bridesmaids. I bought that on DVD. Watched it
a banger.
a ton of times. It's so funny. A great all-woman main cast ensemble comedy.
And I really feel like every scene that they took, even in like the little side things happening in the film, were absolutely needed and just kept like reinforcing like big things that were happening with the characters.
I thought they were proper comedy scenes because they touched the characters enough without just being random and trying to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was relevant to them.
It was real.
Yeah, it was like...
Misplaced Mermaid came from.
What's that?
The Misplaced Mermaid. I can't remember the actress's name, but she gets down on the ground and she holds.
Oh my god!
And I used to do that. Dude, all the time for photographs and shit.
Dude, I really forgot that until you started doing the position, and now that
my
just came
sister
back.
has a picture of me. I'm almost certain of we were crossing a street in San Francisco, and I saw that there was like 15 seconds up on there, and everyone at the crosswalk going, and I just was like, "Hey, Misplaced Mermaid," and I just dropped down. In the middle of the crosswalk, and I'm pretty sure she's got a clip of that.
That's hilarious.
I've done that while running through the woods before.
Oh my god!
Just randomly stop and boop and drop a Misplaced Mermaid.
Yeah, man, that one's a classic comedy from that.
And my favorite
2000s.
scene of all time, like I know it's very early on in the film, but it's the one-upping of the speeches. Like it just gets cringe. It just gets cringier. And
it's one of those things that goes long enough where it goes really funny, gets not funny, but then goes.
You think they're done with it, and then they just like take it to the next.
Yeah, then
extreme.
It gets funny again. You're like, damn it, they got me again.
Like when they did like the first speech or whatever, like when Kristen Wiig does her first speech, and I'm just like, okay, right on. That's clearly someone that doesn't like to, openly speak. That's totally fine. And then Helen comes in, and in this instance, like Helen's first speech, it had the inside jokes. Okay, that's where like us girls, we get so fucking mad when like we have a friend that's laughing at an inside joke and we weren't there and we don't understand the joke, and it's just like they're bonding without me right now. No.
So personal.
So then Kristen Wiig comes back and is just like, I love you so much. I just want to reiterate that you chose me as your maid of honor.
Whoa.
And then fucking Helen comes back in. It was just like, you are my soulmate. I have said things to you I've never said to anybody.
The deadpanning they do in that scene is perfect.
Dude, and like the best part is right at the end when fucking, I forget her name, but the girl that plays Helen starts speaking. I forget what language is it. Is it Korean? She says like some like loving thing that's from a culture. She vacationed somewhere, and I was just like, all right, girl, saying a phrase that you heard abroad. Okay. And I'm thinking, that's it. She has won the speeches. And then fucking Kristen Wiig comes back and starts speaking broken Spanish. I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
Just a mess. No. The hottest mess. Which honestly is Kristen Wiig anything but perfect to play that.
You think finally it's over, and then
Target
they start singing. The singing is what capped it for me. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop!
Oh my god!
The uncomfortable moments in movies like that just crack me up.
Absolutely amazing.
There was zero shame in that scene. It was raw.
If you've never seen it, you should really watch it. Now, Lucius, you're next on this Highsplation train. Now, what movie are you presenting to
Try and beat the champ.
So, I'm trying to set my own record here.
Let's just be fair to Lucius. When this is only his second episode, and on his first episode, he tried Emperor's New Groove and couldn't.
He didn't want it bad enough.
I don't think he wants to beat the champion right now. I think he just wants to try and make it to the playoffs. Like he's just.
My goal is to get halfway through this movie, not even finish it.
Because I know how much he likes this movie, and listen, Lucius, I love you to death, brother, but man, I don't think you can do this. I just think you're going to get caught up in the love.
You're going
to get caught up in the love.
That's what I say. My goal is not finish.
My goal is not finish?
My God, you are just like Surfer Dan when it comes to explaining his films, because Homeboy, just Psycho wasn't
even. The love is there, and you're like, I gotta tell him. I gotta tell him about all the parts.
You appreciate cinema.
Well, I need to first appreciate this bong hit.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you need to tell us.
And then announce your movie.
Yeah, you have
bong
to
hit.
announce the movie.
The movie is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I know. I haven't actually seen this, and I don't care that I'm getting spoiled. I know I'm going to love the movie. So, but I know a lot of people like this movie quite a bit. It's pretty high up on people's list now. People are calling it the best DreamWorks movie, and I'm like, whoa. Let's just settle down a little bit.
It's pretty fucking good.
I mean, Shrek is a DreamWorks film, and that film's basically perfect, guys.
Yeah, I think Shrek 2 is better, but that's just me.
That's another talk for another time. Snacks, psychopath. Lucius, you ready?
Mr. Luscious.
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
The movie is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. We start the movie off with Puss in Boots introducing himself in a musical number all about himself, that he is the legendary, famous, fearless hero. He's throwing this party, having a great time. And at the end of this party, gets crashed. There's a troll that he has to fight off to save the village. He defeats the village, but at the end of the fight,
God,
he defeats the village.
he defeats the village troll.
The village troll
Village troll.
that the village was on.
There's a troll in the village. Sorry.
Continue.
So, but at the end of the battle, he dies. Next scene, he wakes up to a doctor who explains that
This movie crazy already.
that Puss has lost all 8 of his lives, and he's down to his last 9th life as a cat.
Wait, total,
Whoa.
right?
Total.
Not like one event, right? Like total, like
Total.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
We go through the history of all the lives that he lost previously.
Oh my God, that's so
Doctor
sad.
reveals that he is down to his last life.
I've seen that montage.
That's sad.
Puss in Boots ignores the doctor at first, says he's going to continue his life because he's
Classic
a fearless
Puss in
hero.
Boots, classic.
He goes to the bar. He's drinking his leche because this is a kid's move. We can't drink alcohol.
Leche.
And in walks a mysterious character who's shaped like a wolf and has a hidden cloak. And then it says he's looking for Puss. Puss thinks that he is a mercenary out for the bounty on his head. There's a huge fight. Puss, for the first time, gets gets wounded by a blade, and for the first time, he feels fear. He runs from the battle. Puss then admits that he is at the end of his life and goes for a retirement. He ends up at a nice cat lady house who
Nice cat lady house. Sick.
who takes him in, and then
She makes him fat, doesn't she?
he gets real fat. He gets
Yes!
a beard. He meets a
Garfield, Puss in
little
Boots.
Chihuahua dog called Perito. We'll talk about him later.
No, we won't.
His
You got
life,
2 minutes and
his
25
life is
seconds.
interrupted by Goldilocks and the Three Bears, who is a family
Halfway.
crime-fighting, robbing gang, and they are trying to find Puss so they can hire him to do a cat burglar job. They don't find him. They still go try to do a cat burglar job. They're trying to steal a magic item from Jack Horner, who is the evilest person in the entire animation history. He's literally pure evil.
Whoa.
Look it up.
Frollo.
2
He's
minutes.
got a magic
So
item.
evil.
They're trying to snag. Puss intercepts. He discovers that the magic item is a map to the wishing star, which would grant him any one wish. He's looking to get his lives back. He tries to nab.
So selfish, Puss in Boots.
Tries to nab the map. Meanwhile, Goldilocks and Three Bears are there. Jack Horner isn't there, and we introduce the love interest, Kitty Southpaw. So there's history there. Can't get into it.
Yes, keep going.
That's perfect. That is
There's a
explosion
huge
city
escape
right
scene,
there.
and then Puss, Southpaws, and
Might as well say
and
they
Perito
fuck.
all are headed to where the map shows that the fallen star is. And meanwhile, they're being chased by Jack Horner and the Goldilocks and Three Bears. They get to the dark forest where the map tells them to go. They enter the forest and find out that the path is only set by each of them personally. Puss, it's all about death. Southpaw's all about loneliness. But Perito is super easy. All life and fluffy because Perito doesn't want anything except friends.
And you go
Yeah.
And then-
1 minute.
You go 1 minute left.
The three of them venture off to try to get through the forest. There's a lot of fight scenes in the shoe where Jack Horner's always chasing them. The Goldilocks and Bears are trying to get them too. The map goes back and forth between all three parties and groups. But eventually, Puss ends up right before where the star is and runs into the wolf from the beginning of the movie. Turns out the wolf is the literal incarnation of death, and he's after that 9th life of his because he has wasted all other lives in frivolous manners. Puss runs to where the star is. He tries to make his wish, but is interrupted by Southpaw and Perito and all the other gangs. There's a huge fight, and then Death interrupts, tries to fight off Puss. Puss, for the first time, fends for his life, and then Death says, "Fine, you actually value your life." He runs away. There's a huge fight scene with Jack Horner. Jack Horner dies, and then
you were so close.
There's literally just one more scene with the three of them. Oh my god,
man, that's
oh my god, that was really good. You know what? I'm gonna count it. You were at the end there.
Truly, I couldn't even tell how much. I was like,
there's a lot.
I was like, dude, the end is like
the
3
movie.
more words.
It's so good.
I was like, the end is like 3 more words, dude. And then you said 3 more words. I'm like, it can only be like 3 more words for the end, dude.
It is.
You're like 3 more words. I'm like, come on, dude. Wow, Lucius. What about? I gotta give it to you anyway, man. I gotta give you the. Definitely,
that movie sounds crazy.
It is so good. Please go watch it.
I saw that montage. Yes. That's it. I saw the montage of the lives, and then I fell asleep.
God damn, Lucius, that was wow. That was wild.
Good job.
He talks about gazpacho a lot.
Oh, there's so many.
He loves the soup.
The big section that I kind of skimmed over was
because Puss is Spanish. It takes place in Spain.
Back and forth.
There's a lot happens.
Yeah, and then it gets to the forest,
and you're like, that's way too many scenes.
I had to just.
Dude, literally, I'm pretty sure I'm going to name this episode "Can't Get Into That" because that freaking killed me. Where he's like, introduce,
a lot of history
you set
there.
it up,
Can't
like,
get into that.
Introduce love interest. This name, not going to tell you. Literally, like,
can't get into it.
We both did that where we're like, this isn't worthy of wasting time to talk about.
Fucking
history that we can't get into
absolutely killed me, dude. That was fantastic. Oh my god, great high explanations. Thank you so much, Snacks, Lucius. That was absolutely wonderful.
Still the champion.
And that is going to do it for today's 42 Strains, you guys. I just have to say thank you again for all you listeners out there in the Czech Republic, U.S., Canada, U.K., all where you guys are listening. Listen to us everywhere you get your podcast.
Hey, Czech Republic, check out Papers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check out Papers.
Check out Papers. Thank you for writing our songs, Papers. We love you always and forever. Lucius, thank you so much for coming on again, man.
Thank
we
you
love
for
having
me.
you on as a guest or a host. It's been absolutely wonderful. Chuck, thank you for always being a partner in crime. Snacks, thank you for always being a partner in crime. And until next time, stay high, stay golden, and we'll smoke with you soon. You can catch Double A on Twitter and Instagram at AA1242.
You can follow this old dinosaur on Twitter at SurferDan. Just kidding, I was too slow to get that handle, but that guy's still pooping. I'm at 42 Strains, that's the number 42 Strains. And over on Instagram, you can find me at SurferDan of 42 Strains.
If you'd like to see what's going on with your girl Snacks, you can go to Twitter and follow SnackQueen21. I repeat, SnackQueen21.
Or come follow Chucky D over on Instagram at Chuck_Dante or Twitter at iHeartChuckady.
And if you'd like, you can follow Rue on Twitter at Blazing Roots.